Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Who are these people?
Notice me, senpai. Notice me.
Don't be rude.
Welcome to another episode of Pro Wrestling Talk. Boy, what happened last night threw a monkey wrench on everything, huh?
Oh, boy. Yeah, and then some.
I'm Angel Rivera alongside Mrs.Witchy Perfect, and you sound a lot better than you did the last couple of weeks, so I'm glad.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a long process. I've been taking Mucinex like it's candy, but you know what? Just got to get through my system. My poor son didn't feel very well. Something didn't agree with his stomach yesterday, and he had a little bit of a low-grade fever, but we're back. We're stronger than ever, and we're here to fight.
Okay, good. So yes, last night, threw a monkey wrench. We discussed last week what's going to happen at WrestleMania, and it's going to be Cena against Cody, or Punk against Cody, or Cena, Punk, and Cody. It's like we're all kind of looking forward to this, and all of a sudden, here comes the final boss, The Rock, to come in here and kind of throw a monkey wrench in the whole WrestleMania season. And I'm sure he's behind this. It's not Triple H, because I'm sure he had his plans, and and now here comes fucking Rock to kind of throw a monkey wrench in the whole thing and basically turn. Go ahead.
All right. Well, okay. So here's my thoughts on the whole thing. Rock is acting like he's Vince McMahon and Cody Rhodes is Stone Cold Steve Austin. Rock, we've already had this for 2 years in 98 and 99. We don't need another Austin versus McMahon. It's total. First of all, you're not Vince McMahon. Second of all, you're The Rock. That was the first of all. Second of all, Cody's not Stone Cold. He's the face of the company. He doesn't need to be. He is so popular right now. Literally, I have a shirt by him. And I don't like anybody except for, Braun Breaker and Drew McIntyre, who have grown on me. Okay. And Punk grew on me too. Like I said, I watched a documentary with Punk, and I had to turn it off midway because I was kind of like, you know what? I don't want my image of Punk to be ruined. But No, they're doing good stuff, good storylines here, but now this isn't the Stone Cold, turns on The Rock and, shakes Vince McMahon's hand at WrestleMania, whenever it was.
17
17. Okay.
at the
Um,
Astrodome, I think it was.
right. This is not that moment. And even that wasn't, I mean, people refuse to boo Stone Cold Steve Austin. Same thing with Cody Rhodes. No one is ready to boo Cody Rhodes.
No,
He's still
not
at
right
the
now.
prime of his, title run.
Not right now.
This is not Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, go back to where you came from. They didn't like him as a babyface. They hated him as a heel. This is not that time, Rock.
Not right
this is
now.
bad garbage wrestling storylines.
So what happened? Rock randomly turned babyface when he came back at the first episode of Netflix on Raw on Netflix. I said it backwards.
And choose one. Because he's out there saying, oh, well, you guys have the largest STDs in the world. Well, are you a babyface or are you a freaking heel?
He
Rock?
Now last night he randomly turned heel again, and now they're starting this whole story with Cody and Rock. So
come
the beginning
to
of
the
the
dark
night,
side.
yeah,
No.
4:00. Around 4:00, I saw on Twitter Rocky is going to appear on SmackDown. I'm like, okay, he's going to announce that WrestleMania 42 is taking place in New Orleans in the Superdome, which is what he did at first. Is like, then because I was doing Angel in the afternoon, so I didn't watch the beginning of SmackDown. So apparently Nick Aldis went up to Cody, is like, hey, the final boss wants to see you in the ring at the end of the night. Not The Rock, the final boss is like, that's so okay. So it's like and then he does that. They all go to the ring. Rocky sucks up to him. Like, oh, you're such a great champion, Cody. We loved you. You carried this company last year. You did such a great job. But will you be my champion? And I'm like, my champion? Fuck do you mean my champion? And then he continues like, will you be my corporate champion? I'm like, oh no, I know where they're going with this. So you knew right there.
Yep, you knew right there that was the Austin and McMahon thing, because that's what Vince wanted to do with Austin.
Yeah, he wanted to be the corporate champion. And Austin came out famous in that famous segment with a suit and tie, and is like, after he became champion, and he's like, this is the absolute last time you'll ever see me in this suit. And he started ripping it off.
Ripping it off, that's right.
But Cody loves the suit. He wears it every week. So it's like,
but it's a different time, right? So
yeah, that too is a different time in America.
He wears a suit because it fits his persona.
Yeah,
he looks very nice. He's the people's champion, even though The Rock said he was the people's champion. No, Rock, you deemed yourself the people's champion. The people made Cody the champion, or wanted Cody to finish his story. I mean, you're self-proclaimed everything. This is like a power trip. I mean, I don't know if The Rock, because he said, I see dollar signs when I look out at the crowd, or somebody said that. I forgot who said that.
CBC voter. Thank you
CBC.
very much. Thank you very much for joining us. Go ahead. Sorry, I just wanted to acknowledge.
No, that's okay. CBC, we salute you. No, this is exactly how Vince wanted Austin to be, and Rock. We've already seen this. We've seen Austin versus McMahon. You're not Vince, and Cody's not Austin. It's not going to work.
So eventually, Cody's has his like, what the fuck look on his face, and then Rocky says, "I want an answer about Elimination Chamber," and he walked off, which is next Saturday. So that's the whole segment they're building towards that Elimination Chamber, where Cody's gonna join the dark side and turn heel or not, which he's not, by the way. I want to make there's no way.
And it would be like the nobody wants to boo Stone Cold Steve Austin. Nobody wanted to boo Stone Cold Steve Austin, even though he beat the crap out of Lita. On TV, and that was like male on female violence.
That was taboo even back in 2001. So imagine today is definitely taboo, but back then it was like, I was like, okay, they're really trying with this heel turn, but I still don't want to boo Steve. At the time as a teenager still, so it's like, they're really trying with this.
They were really trying, but nobody wanted to boo him when he hit Lita with that chair. People were like, yeah. I was like, I'm confused. I'm like, wait, what?
We're cheering on violence against a female. I was like, that's how over Steve was then, even in 2001.
Yeah.
So, I'm like, he just threw a monkey wrench at WrestleMania. So it's like, what's going to happen now? it's intriguing. I'm not gonna lie, but at the same time, it's like you just threw a monkey wrench in this WrestleMania build for no reason.
And like I said, this has feelings of Vince versus or Austin versus McMahon.
Yeah, exactly what it feels like. Yeah,
where McMahon got someone else. So Love or Mick Foley came
got
into the
somebody
fold.
else.
So someone else is going to be a paper champion.
I guarantee you somebody else is going to be the Rock's champion or corporate champion, you know. So question is who it's going to be. It's not going to be Cody. I mean, he's going to turn down the Rock at the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And so who is going to be? Right now, there's a lot of speculation online, and I'm like, and somebody said in this speculation, oh, it might be Cena because he's desperate for a main event slot at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
like,
but the question is, do people want to boo Cena? Because it's his farewell tour, you know. They don't.
I don't know that's
going
to work. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to work.
What about
is it
CM Punk?
Yeah, that's somebody else. I speculated because CM Punk is also desperate. Paul Heyman owes him that favor. What if Paul Lee called the Rocks like, hey, can you get CM Punk that main event slot? You know, and he's like, that's part of that favor, I guess, you know, and he's like, because they were in the bloodline together, if you remember, you know, from last year's build. So they have a relationship already. So on camera, at least. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's ends up being CM Punk. And let's say, again, the triple threat angle still works. Remember, I think we discussed this last week where Cena wins the
Someone's got to be the heel.
Yeah.
Someone's got to be that heel thing.
So Punk can be an excellent heel. I mean, he's done it before, and he can get people to boo him. Even though right now, I don't know how the fans might not want to boo him, but eventually they'll boo him, especially if he's, you know, opposing Cody as a heel, not just as a babyface. So if it'll be ironic if he agrees to be the Rock's corporate champion or the Rock's champion, because him and the Rock had that feud 10 years ago.
Because I mean, Punk has always done his own thing, you know, and that's why we love him so much, because he's always done his own thing. He's never gone corporate, you know. He's always talked about the corporate, you know, bull crap. And I just think, you know, it's like it's got to be somebody. If it's not Cena, it's got to be Punk.
I don't see Cena turning heel in his farewell tour, even if it maybe he would. I agree to it because, you know, I think it was 10 years ago. Vince had a plan in place to turn Cena heel, and then the last second he scrapped it. He's like, no, I don't want to. I'm not going to do this. So they've been close to turning him.
Something.
Yeah. He does a lot of Make-A-Wish, and he does a lot of stuff with the kids. So, and now he's a big movie star. So it's like, does Cena really want to turn heel at this point in his career? The answer would probably be no. If it's not going to be Cena, it's not going to be Punk. It may be Drew McIntyre. I mean, he already has a good relationship with The Rock, so he might be that corporate champion. You know?
Well, and Drew is already a heel, so I mean, but I mean, he's such a cool heel. You can't help but like laugh because Drew McIntyre is just such a great heel. I love Drew McIntyre. He really's got that, you know, bad boy persona, especially when he was doing that stuff with, you know, Sami Zayn and stuff, moving out of the way so Zayn would accidentally hit somebody else and made it almost like Zayn was the bad one, but, you know, Sammy's happy-go-lucky. Has Sami Zayn ever been a heel?
Yeah, he worked heel 7 years ago when he was this character of, you know, he was basically like a conspiracy theorist and believed the WWE was against him, you know, wouldn't push him and stuff. So that he was a heel, but, you know, fans got behind him even then because, like, damn, Vince is right. He's right. Vince won't push him and won't use him, you know, properly. So that's why, even though he's supposed to be a heel, ended up being a babyface anyway. So it's like, so, and he worked heel
because I mean they're hinting towards it. You know, with Drew McIntyre and
Sammy's probably going to be pushed over, or not pushed over, but he's probably going to be feuding with Karrion Kross because they're already building that kind of.
Yeah, I'm like, what is Karrion Kross trying to do here? He just kind of shows up randomly on Raw, and Sami Zayn. I'm like.
He's obsessed with Sami Zayn, and they're going to program him with Sami Zayn probably heading into WrestleMania. Because this match with Kevin Owens is unsanctioned, and they'll probably beat the crap out of each other and then move on. Because I don't know what Kevin Owens is going to do at WrestleMania, but if Randy Orton's coming back, then that's the match they'll do. Randy Orton against Kevin Owens. But if not, I don't know what he's going to do at WrestleMania. Kevin
And
Owens.
then where does that leave Sammy?
He'll probably work with Karrion Kross at WrestleMania.
Yeah. Oh,
So-
wow. We got a lot of good scenarios, though, here. But, I mean, I was watching that today at work and going, oh, man, Rock, go suck a dick. Dude,
He just
you are
threw-
on
he
such
threw-
a fucking power trip.
He threw a monkey wrench into the build, and I'm sure this is what he planned all along. And
Did you
of
hear that
course-
where he goes, I'll knock that syphilis right off your face? I went, oh, you go ahead and do so, you mother effer.
it's like it's like he's trying too hard to bring back the Attitude Era and try to be that uncensored Rock again. But the Attitude Era passed. It's 25 years ago at this point.
And stop yelling at the fans, guys. If you can't take what the fans talk to you, I mean, Kurt would ignore them. You know, that's what you have to do as a professional. You can't yell back at the fans.
Yeah.
Unless they cross that barricade, then they're free reign for anybody. But I mean,
Oh yeah.
if a fan calls you a bitch, don't get all bitchy. I mean, you just prove their point. Don't get all, snowflakey. I hate that.
So the most important. So yeah, he does that. He does his promo. Cody, we're all confused. We don't know what the hell's going on. Cody had that what the fuck face on him because they're supposed to be friends now. It's like what?
Oh yeah, they just showed a picture of their moms being friends.
Yeah.
Like, oh goody.
You see, our moms are even friends. Just show that picture from whatever that was. I don't know, the Royal Rumble or something. Where
Mama Rose
they're
and Mama
together.
Rock. I went, oh god.
Honestly, he's coming across as cringe, Rocky. For a while now.
I'm surprised he didn't get on his knees and blow Cody. I mean, no offense, but
he's coming across as really cringe. Like he's trying too hard now. He's trying too hard to get over and be that old Rock, but he's over because of who he is. I mean, Dwayne Johnson, the big Hollywood star, but the modern fan, I don't know. I mean, they cheer. It's The Rock, of course. Yay, he's back. But after
even
that,
though he tells them to go fuck themselves, basically.
Yeah,
that's what he did. Like last night, he was like, I'll sing by myself. I don't need you syphilis people or you STD people. I don't need you singing with me. I'm like, oh my God, Rock, they're going to sing anyway. Shut up. Sing the damn song.
It was, and then who's gonna turn heel and oppose Cody at WrestleMania? That's up in the air. If I had to put my money on it, it'll probably end up being either McIntyre or CM Punk. I don't think they'll turn Cena. I'd be surprised if Cena turns. Holy shit, that's gonna be huge at WrestleMania.
That will be huge.
Yeah.
That will be huge.
If they convince Cena to turn and actually work heel, I mean, that's going to be huge at WrestleMania. The question is whether the fans would buy it and boo him.
Especially,
that's the goal.
Yeah, I mean, who wants to boo him at this point because it is his farewell tour,
Yeah.
But it could be like, heels like McIntyre versus, I don't know. Geez. Wow. This is really a hard one. I mean, because at this point, you want to have that, Punk versus Cena versus Cody, because I just think CM Punk has really come a long way. He's really sacrificed. He's really polished himself now. Even though I'm like, don't do that. Oh, geez, stop doing that. No, I like Punk. Punk really grew on me. I don't know why. I think it's that old school mentality of, this is his sport. He loves it. And, he loves the business, even though, he had some issues with The Office. But, I mean, it was at that point where, Vince McMahon would kind of off his rocker for the, last 20 years he's been off his rocker.
By the time Punk left in 2014, he had enough of Vince. He had enough of Triple H. Because Triple H was still politicking at that time because he was still a worker. So he's trying to get himself over instead of, getting over other talents. So now today he's great at getting other people over. I mean, he's the booker. Right. So it's like, but at the time he's still a talent, but part-time trying to get himself over with Vince. So it's like, so he was sick of all of it and left. Did the UFC thing, came back to AEW. He thought Tony was great. Holy, by the time he realized what Tony was, it was too late. He was locked into a long-term contract with him. He's screwed. And it's like, then he realized what Tony was. I don't know whether I wonder who he thinks is worse, Tony or Vince. Nobody's ever asked him that. So like,
well, I mean, you had AEW. I was watching something where people were burying other people, and you had AEW wrestlers come right into Punk's face and say, "You don't belong here." I would look at him and say, "Go suck a dick. You don't belong here either. This fucking company shouldn't be here." That's just my take on it. But I mean, Punk, he took it, even though I would have punched the dude in the face and be like, "You don't deserve to be here. You don't like this business. You're making a mockery of this. AEW is just a mockery of this shit."
Eventually, he didn't take it, and he beat up Jungle Boy, though,
right?
So, and that's when he quit.
So,
finally,
fuck that guy.
And that's when he quit. So it's like he's like, "You're a clown. I quit," and he walked away.
Exactly.
But yeah, ever since he came back to WWE, everybody's like, "Oh wow, what a pleasant person he is." It's not the person I remember in his first run. It's like, he's such a pleasant. He's so happy to be here. He wants to help. He does whatever's asked of him. Doesn't complain anymore because Triple H is booking him well, probably. But
yeah.
But yeah, that's why. But a lot of the reason. But he goes down to the Performance Center and helps the young talent. He's so much more mature than what he was 10 years ago.
Because he saw what really bad, shitty wrestling looks like at AEW, and all these children who didn't want to fucking do anything, where he's that kind of mentality where you like this business. Either you like the business and you stay in it, or you get the fuck out. We don't need you here.
Yeah. Cody Rhodes, the whole thing. I don't know. I'm at a total loss. Be interesting to see what happens in Elimination Chamber ultimately.
They always like to throw that curveball at you. You're like, "Oh yeah, this is gonna happen."
Last year,
curveball.
Last year again, the curveball was Cody giving up his Royal Rumble spot for The Rock.
Right.
Remember how that one went? By the weekend, the fans like shit all over it. They didn't want to see Rock and Roman. They wanted to see Cody. So by the time they did the press conference, they had pivoted, and it's like that's when Cody got his spot back, and they did the tag team match on night one. But yeah, that was a giant curveball. Like,
well, and that's what The Rock came out and was kind of complaining about. Oh, it was supposed to be me and Roman at WrestleMania. Why? Your time has passed, Rock. Nobody wants to fucking see you wrestle anymore. We're done with you. We're done with you.
The original plan was for Rocky to end Roman Reigns' 3.5-year title run. That was the original plan.
Ego. That's just ego.
Yeah, that was the plan that Rocky had. That's why, he's kind of bitter at that. He didn't get to beat Roman Reigns and become the champion. And eventually the idea was for Roman to beat Rocky again for it later in the year when he had SummerSlam or something. But would Rock put him over? Probably. He put over Cena, but it took a long time. So that's like 10 years ago. But
I remember watching that where, you could see it on Cena's face where he was just like, I had to literally put The Rock over.
And
okay,
he obviously
Rock,
wasn't in love with the
idea. You are over 50
idea.
years old. We don't need to see you as champion anymore. You're like Ric Flair. You're staying too long at the party. Nobody wanted to see Ric Flair in the 1990s win 15 times. Nobody gives a fuck about that anymore. We want to see Cody and Punk and Cody, Punk, and Cena. Sorry.
Cena being retired. Yeah, retirement
right. And
tour.
Cena's gonna be gone anyway next year.
Yeah, he's throwing himself into he's pigeonholing himself into the main event scene at WrestleMania, even though most likely he's not going to wrestle.
Right.
But he definitely just threw himself into the main event scene at WrestleMania. For no reason, because he wasn't a part of the story.
Ego. Hey, I'm The Rock and I have power and I'm on a power trip. Hey, Rock, nobody gives a fuck. You're a has-been. You are so not relevant anymore. Just stay behind the camera. But he can't. That power, he needs to feel that. He needs to feel that. I understand that the fans give you that, whether you're a heel or you're a babyface. I get that. But Rock, it's done. You're over 50. You're like Ric Flair. You're staying too long at the party.
So when he joined, when Vince left the board of directors and when they replaced him with The Rock, it's like, uh-oh. because he has all this power now on the board, and all the executives basically do whatever he wants. He's going to do
It went
whatever that
right to
he
his head.
wants. So yeah, so
This
he's
is
gonna.
also the same guy. The Rock said, "Oh well, they begged me to run. They begged me to run for president." I went, "Oh come on." Yeah, I'm sure they
And
got
I,
on their knees and blew you and said, "Please be our president, Rock." Ugh, no one
yeah,
knows what you stand for, Rock. I'm not going to vote for you
yeah,
because you tried to like literally screw people out of money during that whole Lahaina and Maui thing. Oh,
Oh yeah, that
please
was a
give us money, poor
disaster.
people, even though you had freaking millions.
Yeah, basically it was you give us money and we'll help the people Lahaina instead of doing it themselves. So yeah, it was a disaster. I mean, it got shit on like it should have been. So yeah, The Rock is just forcing himself into this main event scene, and he'll probably be at ringside, be a special enforcer, and screw Cody out of the title most likely, whoever the heel is. So Cody's dropping this belt at WrestleMania. It's almost near certainty if Rocky's involved at this point.
Yeah. The question is to who? Who's going to be that paper champion? Oh, I'm going to be like Dude
Uh-huh.
Love when it came to
Yeah.
Vince McMahon.
Mm-hmm.
And now here we go, a new cycle of Austin versus McMahon. And it's like, again, I've seen this before. I liked it with Austin. I don't like it with Cody because Cody's not Austin. Austin's not Cody.
So in order, the Rock needs to get in the ring in order to get his comeuppance. To get that moment where the babyface finally beats the heel. He needs to get back in the ring if he's gonna do this. He can't just not get in the ring. So he needs to, like Vince. They had that match with Austin at St. Valentine's Day Massacre. He had that match.
Right.
So at least Vince got in the ring with Austin. So to get Austin get his revenge and get his title shot ultimately.
Well, see, and here's the thing. I mean, that could absolutely happen. And again, I mean, The Rock is jacked, no doubt about it. He looks better than Flair ever did. And he's over 50 years old. But again, it just comes down to you're doing a storyline that's already been done. We already had the Austin versus McMahon, and he was part of that corporate ministry too. He was part of the corporate, the corporation.
The original corporation.
And that's why, like, I just shook my head, like, really? I mean, this has already been done, Rock. We've already had this. All you're doing is you're becoming Vince McMahon, and then you're looking for someone who was you at the time when you were in the corporation.
And there's nobody that I can think of that, because I don't want Drew McIntyre all of a sudden wearing a suit, that's like a corporate stooge. So that's not, and CM Punk is definitely not going to do that. I mean, so there's really no, not even Cena. Cena wears the shorts and he wears, he wrestles. So there's nobody that would. The only one that could pull it off is Cody, but nobody wants to see Cody Rhodes turn heel right now. So it's like,
I mean, he's the face of the company right now.
Yeah. So
and he's doing a damn good job of it. Let's give him
I don't
props,
understand. Yeah, I don't understand the logic behind the story, unless Punk agrees because he's so desperate. Because both Cena and Punk are desperate for that main event slot. Cena because his final year, and Punk because he's their main event at WrestleMania. So they're both desperate enough maybe to take the Rock's offer.
Well, and that's the thing that, I mean, even Cody knows he's not ready to be heel. Not yet.
No, he can't.
Not yet.
Because
I mean, take the belt off of him, maybe, and he comes out, he starts crying, "Oh, you made me lose the belt," because, as long as it's not like Stone Cold, he comes back out, I want the title, another title shot, and can't say title belt. Can't say belt. I mean, you can now, but I mean, you couldn't say belt.
Vince had, like, literally, there was a list. And then when he first got hired, they would give you, actually announcers, they would give you like pages of words you could not say because Vince had banned them.
Professional wrestler.
Yeah,
or pro wrestler.
Wrestling, pro wrestler. Yeah.
Oh, you have to say entertainers.
Yeah, sports entertainer. And Michael Cole used sports entertainer multiple times. It's been like, oh, so brutal. Like, sports entertainer. Like, what the hell is that?
No, we're pro wrestlers, idiots. But no, that would drive me nuts because I was watching a special about Braun Strowman. Accidentally said title shot instead of title match.
Oh,
or
Vince
something.
was furious. I remember that. Vince was furious.
Ripped him a new one. I went, Vince, what the hell does it matter? What does it matter?
Oh,
I mean,
Vince was
even fucking
furious.
Triple H forgot his line, and CM Punk had to give it to him.
Yeah, he was furious. Like
was
Vince,
like-
yeah, if people saw Vince McMahon getting into Braun Strowman's face and yelling at him, it was like a sight to see.
Because he said shot, title
Yeah.
shot,
Yeah,
instead of title match or something.
like it was so ridiculous. Like he was, what the fuck is wrong? Like people realized then Vince was kind of losing it. So it's like 2016, 2017 at this point. This is around the time he became. I called him Senile Vince. Everybody started calling him Senile Vince because he would start stories and then drop them for no reason with no explanation and no ending. Kind of like Tony Khan is doing now with his stories.
Yeah.
So
you're doing Tony Khan is doing exactly like maybe he's senile. Maybe Tony Khan has lost his mind.
He's like in
Like
his early
Vince did.
40s. He's like in his early 40s. So there's no way that, unless it's unless there's something else going on there, maybe drugs, because people accuse like Tony Khan of taking too much Adderall. But
Yeah, maybe it's too much Adderall.
yeah.
That's definitely a possibility. But I mean, well, like I said, I was watching something that just certain specials. If you guys ever do want to watch them, oh shoot, I forgot what it's called, but WrestleMania, I think, is the channel that it's called. But they have like 10 wrestlers that yelled at the office, or it's
That's
called
WrestleMania.
Mania.
Like
Mania.
Lamia.
Okay.
Yeah. I know. I like that channel. I watch it sometimes. So. But yeah, they have good content there. Good, they're usually top 10 lists and stuff. So
yeah, I'm addicted to it now. I'm like watching everything, especially the bloopers. I mean, because let's face it, guys, my guy couldn't say the narcissist Lex Luger, and then his son like totally screwed up. Joe's like, the moment's now, right now. This is the moment. I'm like, oh, Joe, ugh.
No, that
okay,
was during.
It happens.
That was
in
like
NXT.
Yeah, when they had like the NXT like competition and stuff, and they told him to cut a promo on something ridiculous, like either it was a banana or something, and he like or something. He failed. It wasn't. I remember it was not a good promo. I was like, yeah, I mean, that was not good.
But he got so much better. And then
Yeah.
I saw one that was like wrestlers that accidentally used their real names. I'm like, oh, remember that, Joe? Oh, I mean, Michael. Michael.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you should have just said Joe Hennig. Remember that, Joe Hennig? Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Because they gave him the name Michael McGillicuddy.
You're
it was so god awful. I couldn't believe it. It's like, that's obviously Mr. Perfect Son.
No one can remember that name. They're just like, hey, remember that, Joe? I mean, I mean, Michael.
Eventually, they changed his name to Curtis Axel, which was in honor of his grandfather, and which is a good name, but
his father and his grandfather,
yeah.
And then they it was Drew something Glackman or Glickman or something or Glick, but they said Drew Axel. I'm like, oh my god, they just gave Kurt another son, and that's not his other son's name.
Is this? It's just bad.
You have an adopted brother there, Joe.
It's just bad. So now we have a much more a card for Elimination Chamber is much more fleshed out. So like I predicted this last week, but Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are gonna wrestle in an unsanctioned match. So
right,
and I actually predicted this last week. It'll probably be an unsanctioned match,
But
So
why?
I didn't think
I mean, why can't they sanction it? I don't understand.
Sami Zayn's not cleared because the package proud driver may have a bad neck, so he can't be cleared medically, so it can't be sanctioned by WWE. So that's why it's unsanctioned.
I think that's just a cop out. That's just code for like, hey, anything goes. It's a street fight.
Yeah.
Have at it.
Yeah, it's no disqualification, but they didn't want to say that, so it's like they're trying to code it in unsanctioned. It's kind of like a lights out match from back in the territory days. So it's anything goes, no rules, and whoever wins, referee's just there to count to 3. He can't stop anything. So also that's really what this match is going to be. So it's going to be brutal. There'll probably be some color because there has to be. This is a blood feud at this point. So, and the 2 Elimination Chamber matches, Seth Rollins ended up being the final guy. And for the women's side, ended up
Didn't even
being
give a fuck.
Roxanne Perez.
Yeah, Roxanne
Roxanne
Perez.
Perez
But you
ended up
had
being the
said that they
final
were going to
girl.
push her because I
Yeah,
mean she's coming up from NXT. I think she's ready for the roster now, the main
she
roster.
has. They have no choice, even if she's not ready, because she's been in NXT for 4 or 5 years. So
Yeah.
with all the other talent coming through NXT, they have to call her up, and she has to either sink or swim at this point because there's really no
Mhm.
choice. Because if she sinks, they're probably going to fire her anyways in a year. So, but if she swims and becomes kind of a star, then it's like, okay, they have another star in the main roster, great. But she's so tiny. I don't know where she fits. At least with Liv Morgan, she has a personality, even though she's tiny too. Roxanne has no personality. I mean, I call it the charisma vacuum. Every time she's out there, she sucks up all the charisma from the segment. So it's just so awful.
The only thing
But
I remember her is that she was teasing CM Punk. She was like, if I
yeah,
was a 13-year-old girl again, I'd be so jumping up and down right now. And then she turned majorly
hmm
heel against CM Punk. And I was like, ugh, this is
and it was
rotten.
cringe too. And it was cringe too.
Right.
It's like she's like the prototypical definition of a modern wrestler. She can do all the moves and she can have good matches, but ultimately the personality is not there, and it probably never will be there. Which is why she was in NXT for so long, because her personality wasn't there. But they turned her heel. She just cringe as a heel. As a baby face, she's just too whiny, and not whiny. That's not the word I'm looking for. She's just too bland. They turn her heel. She's just cringe now. She's trying, but it's like she would
She
fit
got to
better in
find out
AEW.
who it is. She's got to find that
And
gimmick
she's
that
still
she's
she's still really young too. She's like in her late 20s, so it's not like she's like 40. I mean, so she still has time, but the
right.
WWE is not going to give her much time on the main roster. Either you can go and get over, or you can't, and then most likely she'll end up in catering first, and then she'll be fired because
Right.
a lot of these guys and girls who can't cut it, they don't fire them immediately. Just they leave them in catering, kind of like a joke, They stay in catering and never get used on television, and then eventually they get fired. And when they got to cut the fat, so
Yeah, I mean, if you can't cut the mustard, guess what? You got to find out who you are, Roseanne. What's her name? Roxanne?
Roxanne, she needs
Roxanne
to find
Perez.
out. She needs
You
to
need to
find out
find
quick.
you got to find your gimmick. You got to find your personality because if you don't, trust me, they're going to leave you behind. And you better figure it out soon. Because
Yeah,
now you're on the main stage. Now this is where you either shine or, as you said, sink or swim.
again, she won. She defeated Raquel Rodriguez, who's like
Raquel,
twice her
yeah.
size,
What do they have
and
for her? I mean, she really hasn't won any matches. I mean, a
uh,
tag team maybe, but
she's Liv Morgan's muscle right now, and
yeah.
eventually, I guess they're gonna win the tag team titles at WrestleMania or maybe during Raw or SmackDown, because that's Liv Morgan's like next step to be the tag team champions again. So to give her something to do on the show after losing the women's title, but yeah, I don't see anything in Roxanne Perez other than being a good worker. Kind of like a
Mhm.
Johnny Gargano or his wife Candice LeRae. They're just there, they're good workers, but
Yeah.
they're pretty useless. I mean, that's why Candice ended up being like Nia Jax's like her errand girl, basically do whatever she asks. So
That
and
eventually that would become Tiffany Stratton,
yeah,
right?
but
She was more like
yeah, yeah, because
best
they
friend.
turned. Yeah, the best friend. That's exactly where she ended up, Candice LeRae. And
Yeah.
Gargano's in a tag team with Tommaso Ciampa. Even that, they're probably going to drop the tag team title soon. And what they're going to do with Gargano, I don't know. I mean, after WrestleMania. So we'll see. That's up in the air. But yeah, and they also booked Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus versus Nia Jax and Candice LeRae in a tag team match. So
On SmackDown,
it's
right? I didn't watch it. I just was like,
that was booked on SmackDown for the pay per view. So
okay, well,
yeah, they're in Toronto. Trish is from Toronto. She's gonna be on the show, so they got to use her somehow. So there you go. That's how they figured out how to get her in
49
the
years
card.
old. This is probably her farewell tour as well. I
She
wasn't
retired.
much for the chicks. They had chicks wrestling in mud in like the 2000s, and I'm like, you know what? I'll go see what WCW's doing.
Yeah, they
This is
were
before they
there.
got bought out.
Yeah, they were there to make the teenage boys horny. That's all they were there for. And Vince, obviously. I mean, this is about to entertain Vince and the guys backstage. It wasn't really They didn't take it seriously. So yeah, so the card's fleshed out. I think maybe they add another match. Maybe they don't. There's 4 matches on the card right now, so I don't. And
Well,
then also the Rock and Cody Rhodes segment taking place there too. So that's like another
right.
segment,
And,
and that
and
probably,
go
if
ahead.
I had to guess, that probably go on last. They're gonna stick because it's the Rock and it's a big decision from Cody, so they have all the matches first, and then that segment will go on last as like a main event. So even though Cody's not wrestling, but
But it's
neither is the Rock,
so
obviously.
yeah, it's so ugh.
Oh, it's brutal. I know,
Hmm.
but the Rock just threw a monkey wrench into this for no reason. I mean, no reason. I mean, unless they work this in a way that makes sense, and then it's like, okay, I could see what I saw. I didn't see it then, but I see it after WrestleMania where they went. I hope it ends up being good, but
Yeah, me too. But I have a feeling like it's gonna end
mhm,
up being another Austin versus McMahon round 2, where The Rock is Vince and
mhm.
Austin is Cody, but then Drew McIntyre or somebody steps up to the plate. And, yes, I'm a lover of women. Mick Foley had that like, "Ugh, okay, no one ever said you were gay, dude."
Yeah, that was kind
It was
of
like so cringe. I'm
brutal.
like,
Uh,
ugh.
No- So yeah, somebody's gotta, because Cody isn't. They're not turning him heel. He's gonna say no, and then whoever is like, I knew you would say no, so I had a backup plan. And
Right,
whoever ends up taking the deal beats up Cody from behind and turns heel. So, or it could
right.
be Drew McIntyre's already a heel. So
And we love
yeah,
Drew. I mean, I love Drew,
yeah, I
but
like
I
Drew too.
mean, it was a shirt. Braun Breaker threw a shirt in the ring, and AJ Styles caught it like Kurt Hennig would have
It was
caught
good. Yeah,
it.
it was good. I mean, they're obviously setting up AJ Styles versus Braun Breaker at WrestleMania. I mean, that's what they're building
Ooh
towards.
boy,
And
that's
that's gonna
gonna
be a
be a
good
good one.
match. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's gonna be a good match because AJ can
go
still go
Braun.
even, and Braun Breaker is still, and he's the young guy they're building up. I don't think AJ is gonna get the Intercontinental title. I mean, he's
No,
at like
that's below
47.
him. He was
Yeah,
champ.
so
He was heavyweight champ for
yeah, he was
what, a
WWE
year,
champion. Yeah, so for a
couple
year, yeah,
years.
and so yeah, he had multiple runs with the belt. So I don't
Yeah.
think he would win the Intercontinental at this point.
And what's
I
with
think he's
his
gonna.
finisher? I mean, you have to like stick your hands back behind his legs and move your head, and it's
Yeah, it's
weird.
the
I always
Styles
thought it was
Clash. Yeah,
weird. Ugh.
yeah. I don't like that finish. It's kind of, it's obvious you need cooperation to do that move, and it's a little too much for me.
Well,
But
and Stevie Richards
mm,
said his head was all messed up, and he should have had his head back instead of tucked. But
yeah,
yeah, I was
usually
kind of like
you
watching a bunch of specials.
yeah, yeah, you're supposed to tuck your chin in when you take a bump, because that way your neck is not doing this. So you
Hmm.
tuck your chin in, but for the Styles Clash, you can't tuck your chin in
No,
because
you
you're
have
gonna
to
break your neck.
stick your head back out.
You're gonna break your neck. Yeah, which a lot
Yeah.
of guys are used to tucking their chin in because that's what first thing you're taught in wrestling school. It's like whenever you take a bump, tuck your chin in. That way your neck is not
A-
doing this. So you're not getting
Well,
whiplash
and a
or
lot of
concussion. Or
a face bump. Some of them take it like this, but they kind of move their face a little bit so you get it on the cheek, not your nose. Because if you break your nose, I mean, a
yeah,
lot of wrestlers had their nose broken, but I mean, um, if you're a good wrestler and you know how to take a bump, usually if you take a face bump, you just kind of move your head a
yeah,
little
you
bit.
take
That
it
way
on
you're
your
not,
chin.
yeah, you don't take
You
it
take it on
on
your
your
cheek
nose.
here. Hmm.
Yeah, take it on the cheek.
So yeah, that's Elimination Chamber. Only 4 matches. I don't see they add another match because the 2 Elimination Chamber matches will take forever. And
That's
the
right.
Rock and
That's right.
and the Rock and Cody's gonna take 30 minutes or more. So I don't think they add another match to this
Why are
card.
they gonna
So
milk it for that damn long? I mean, they don't need to milk this. It's just a
I
big
know,
no, and then whoever's gonna turn, or if it is Drew McIntyre, he already turns.
yeah. So that segment could be done in 10 minutes, but I know it's gonna take 35 minutes because it's the Rock, and he's gonna want to cut a promo and want to be the Rock. So
Yeah, because I mean, his
it,
promo last night was like 18 minutes.
yeah, he took up. It went past 10. It went past 10. Whenever 11 o'clock or whatever it ended. It went past like 10 minutes. So they had an overrun. So
Yeah.
because The Rock takes forever in his promos. So it's like,
Yeah, but I'm sure WWE is better than AEW and says, oh, by the way, we're gonna have a run over because it's The Rock.
no, yeah. So
He still thinks he's relevant.
yeah, so it's not good, So yeah, I mean, that's gonna take 30, 35 minutes at the end of the show because it has to. I mean, and they're gonna milk it, and Cody's gonna look at the crowd when Rock asked him. It's gonna take forever, and we're gonna probably complain about it on Sunday because that's what's gonna end up happening. And eventually, we'll discuss the heel turn of Cena or Punk or McIntyre or whoever ends up being Rocky's
The guy.
representative at
Yeah,
WrestleMania.
that
Because
guy.
Rocky isn't going to wrestle. He's not going to wrestle at WrestleMania most likely. So he needs a representative in the main event. So
I mean, he's over 50 at this point.
yeah.
He's not getting any younger, Rock.
Yeah, so I get the feeling it's going to end up being a multi-man match at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
It's going to be Cody, it's going to be Punk, Cena, and McIntyre, and like a fatal four-way. Because Seth Rollins is probably end up working Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. So that's
Do
not...
we really want a fatal four-way, though? I mean, no offense,
not
but...
me, but that's probably what's going to end up happening because
Yeah.
you need to stick Punk in a main event because basically that's the only reason why he came back, and I'm sure Triple H is going to want to keep that promise. So you're going to see him in a main event at WrestleMania, either night 1 or night 2. Most likely end up being night 2.
Well, rightfully so. I think, like I said, Punk is one of those guys that, I mean, he's really paid his dues. He loves the business. We can tell he loves the business, even if he had some, attitude issues. That happens. When you're young, you think you're all that in a bag of chips, and to get over in this business, you kind of have to do that. That's the problem with
Yeah.
Roseanne Perez is, she doesn't know who she is. She doesn't know she's cocky.
No.
She doesn't know she's nice. She needs to figure that out. She needs to figure it out real quick.
No. Which is
You've
why
had 4 or 5 years in NXT, so you need to figure it out.
Cena told it, or Becky Lynch, told the story. When she first started, I mean, she wasn't really over. She wasn't really being used because she asked Cena, I mean, what do I think I should do? And Cena's like, I don't know who you are. You don't know who you are. He's like, I do.
No one
He's like,
knows
no,
who
you
you are.
don't.
Yeah.
You don't know who you are. You don't know what your character is. You don't know who you are. You're just going through the motion. So you need to figure out who your character is.
Yep.
And she did, like, that makes no sense. And then eventually she figured it out. And she stumbled onto the man character, and it got so over that she ended up being women's champion and became a huge star. She's bigger than her husband. I mean, honestly. So Seth Rollins.
Husband again? Oh, Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins, yeah.
Really? Becky Lynch is married to Seth Rollins.
Yeah, and they have a baby together. So yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
What is it with marrying wrestlers? Wrestlers marrying wrestlers.
Well, I mean, if you're on the road all the time and you're around wrestlers, then you're gonna end up hooking up, So,
I guess. I mean, look at Charlotte Flair and Andrade.
Yeah, they got a divorce. In fact, we talked about it last week, and I double checked. Andrade was her third marriage, so I was right. We were right.
Yeah, I thought that was her first. But again, like her father. She's on her third marriage already, and now this is her third divorce. Her father's on his fifth. So, I mean, Ric Flair has so many problems. Every time he gets a fucking divorce, he needs to go back to wrestling, but yet he's 70 fucking years old.
Yeah,
like 74, 75. But he needed to go back. He literally said, I had to go back to wrestling because I had so many alimony payments. Hey, that's your fucking fault for getting married and then cheating on your wife, on every fucking wife you've ever had.
Yeah, so
maybe if you kept it in your fucking pants and realized you're not the nature boy and find someone you can actually settle down with instead of fucking around on every fucking wife you've ever had.
So Rick is on his fifth. Charlotte's on her third marriage. I mean, I guarantee you she'll marry somebody else.
She's on her fourth now.
If she finds a fourth husband, so she'll definitely marry that guy. But yeah, I mean, now WrestleMania is right. It's right around the corner, pretty much. It's in April, so we're looking at
April 19th and 20th. And I think that's so funny that WrestleMania, the second night of WrestleMania, is on my birthday.
Yeah, this is the latest they've ever held a WrestleMania. Usually they hold it either at the beginning of April. Now it's like mid-April this year.
Right.
So it's the latest ever held a WrestleMania. So it's like, okay. Well, I'm used to be either being the last week of March or the first week of April. That's normally when they hold WrestleManias.
Yeah, usually it's like first, second, third, or
Mhm.
fourth. And now this year it's the 19th and 20th. Next year it's the 11th and
Yeah.
12th
So
of
yeah, they
April.
that's when The Rock came out.
Crazy
The
shit.
Rock came out and announced in
That
New Orleans,
WrestleMania in 2026 would be in New
where the
Orleans.
Super Bowl was just held.
And then he did a heel promo. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
confused. Are you a babyface or see? Even The Rock doesn't know what he wants to
Yeah,
be.
it's like
You're not. I mean, you're
he's
The Rock.
desperately
You could be a heel.
like he's desperately trying to stay relevant and not be cringe, but he is
Yeah.
cringe now. I mean, he comes across as really cringe. Even though last year I thought he did great work, even though I wasn't a fan, he did great work as the final boss. This year it's like cringe, you know. It's like he's trying too hard now instead of doing what he did last year. He's trying way too hard.
Well, and that's where we're just kind of like, okay, you know, the same thing with Ric Flair. I mean, Ric Flair,
Hold on, let me go here.
he said he should have stayed retired in 2008. He
Yeah.
retired. He should have stayed that, but he had alimony payments and was broke. Well, maybe you shouldn't fuck around on your wife, but anyway,
That
it's just like that. Only The Rock is on his second marriage,
The Rock, yeah,
and he has twin girls or something.
his second marriage. Yeah, he remarried and had girls. His oldest daughter, Ava, is in NXT, the GM. They gave up on her.
And she couldn't even
No,
cut the
they gave up
mustard.
on her as a wrestler rather quickly. They tried. She had a couple matches, and it was so bad. It's like, take her off TV. And they made her the GM, even though she's really plastic and she's really like wooden when she talks. She can't even cut a promo like her dad. So she didn't pick up any of her dad's talents. Basically, it's like the only reason why she has a
Right.
job because her dad's The Rock and he's on the board. It's obvious. The only reason she has a job because she's been fired by now. If it wasn't for the fact that she's The Rock's daughter. So
Right. See, that just and it goes they're pushing Jacob Fatu, and now Sokola came back, and I'm like, can we let Solo Sokola go? Can we just can he go to Raw? I mean, and start fresh. Do something fresh with him. But get him away from Jacob Fatu. Otherwise, you're going to be pushing Jacob Fatu back down the card because I mean, Sokola wants to be the top guy.
he is.
Well, so does Jacob Fatu.
He's scheduled to work with Solo at WrestleMania as of now, at least, unless that's changed. But I've read he's scheduled to work with Jacob Fatu. So I don't know who's gonna be babyface or heel in that, but it's interesting to see them eventually have that match. And
when you saw it last night, Strowman became a beast again. I mean, like they had him cut down to size, and they had him bleeding and everything. And now, you know, they actually showed that he was a monster. That I mean, he's a tall guy.
Mhm.
He deserves to be a monster. He's better than Kali.
Yeah.
He's better than I wouldn't say he's better than Andre. Nobody was really better than Andre, but
Yeah.
I mean, he's up there, you know, with the Big Show and Andre. So I mean, show this guy for what he really is. They really ruined him, kind of, you know, with the whole Jacob Fatu thing. Though they were pushing Fatu, I get that, but I mean, they finally showed him as a beast again, and helping, you know, Damian Priest, who I'm sorry, I don't have respect for because he's an awful wrestler.
Yeah, I mean, he's been around for a while now, and I mean, his world title run didn't go well.
He misses spots. He botches them, and then, you know, he didn't kick out that one time, and I'm like, oh God.
So yeah, that's not going well. So yeah, I mean, eventually, I don't know. I mean, he's probably gonna be in the upper mid card. They're kind of teasing a match between him and Cody, and it's like, I really don't want to see that, but I'm sure they'll probably get to it at some point. But Cody's probably gonna
Him and Sokola?
No, him and Damien. No,
Or
him
Jacob
and Cody
Fatu?
and Damian Priest. They've been teasing that on
Oh
SmackDown.
God, no! Please, no! Anything but that, please, no.
Yeah, so The Rock wants Cody Rhodes to become his champion, corporate champion. Then he's like, "I want your soul." I was like, "Is he the Undertaker now? He's trying to rip off." I don't know. Understand why he.
It's like he's trying to be Vince and the Undertaker
Yeah.
combined.
And then he walked away and gave that smile. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? You're just completely.
Even Cody's kind of like, what the fuck?
It's like, why did The Rock?
He doesn't know what
Yeah,
to
it's
do.
like what? I mean, I'm sure this was.
All I could say was, Cody, we all confused.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure he'll say no. And then, like we talked about, whoever The Rock grabbed is going to beat him up from behind, and fight. And then that person will end up in the main event, whether they win the Elimination Chamber or not. So it ended up being either a triple threat or a fatal 4-way, which is going to be a clusterfuck. But I'm sure Cody and Punk and Cena can make it work and make it decent, because ideally, you want a one-on-one match in the main event at WrestleMania, not some kind of clusterfuck fatal 4-way.
Not a fatal 4-way, yeah. But I mean, I honestly think if you pick McIntyre, you pick Cody Rhodes, you pick Cena, and you pick CM Punk, I think they definitely can do it. It's kind of like the Iron Man match where, yes, some of Brett and Sean's, in the middle was kind of mushy, but I mean, they at least held the audience for most of that hour Iron Man match. That could be
that match went 67 minutes because there was a sudden death, like Gorilla Monsoon. The president ruled, if you remember.
That's right.
So it really went 67 minutes.
Most of that hour,
it went 67 minutes.
They held that,
and it was great.
In the palm of their hands.
It was great. I mean, it was like that. They called it the Iron Man match, and I was like, "That's an hour-long match." Okay, I mean, I've seen this plenty of time, but of course, Vince had to put a gimmick on it and call it an Iron Man match. I was like, okay. I'm sure these two guys can pull it off because even though I wasn't a big Shawn Michaels fan, but I knew he can go. So it's like, this is gonna.
No offense, Dee, if he watches this later. No offense, Dee, but we weren't really into Shawn Michaels. We were barely into Bret Hart. No, I like Bret. I respect Bret. Hi, Alex, little brother.
Yeah, I mean, we'll wrap up here. I don't know we got to go to the other platforms, but I don't know what the hell is The Rock's doing with this Cody Rhodes thing, and he threw a monkey wrench into WrestleMania this year, and I'm like,
right, and this just seems like it's you're clinging on to the Attitude Era, and dude, the Attitude Era is done. It's over with. It's never coming back. You can't bring it back. We've already seen this. It's Austin versus McMahon 2.0, and it's not with Austin.
I wish the Ruthless Aggression Era came back.
I didn't really see a lot of that, but mostly because, like I said, it was it seemed like it was, Trish Stratus and Lita in a bra and panties match. I'm like, okay, off.
No, you didn't see.
Because I don't want to watch that shit. I
don't know if they really faced each other in bra and panties matches. Maybe like once or twice.
It was an example. Excuse me.
Yeah, so
it was an example.
So let me start wrapping this up. I mean, it's too, and I'm like, come on. I mean, initially I thought, okay, he's going to announce WrestleMania is going to be in New Orleans next year, and he'll do a Rock promo and leave. It's like, nope.
I don't get why they have to be in New Orleans yet again for the third time in 12 years now, or whatever the amount is.
Yeah, I think you said that. Yeah, 13 years.
Yeah, it's the third time.
Third time in 13 years or something.
What's the obsession with that stadium?
The Superdome.
I like where they made. Yeah, they made fun of it. At was it WrestleMania 30 or something? They're like, Hogan accidentally said the Silver Dome. Where's the Silver Dome at?
Yeah, so.
And then Austin comes out and goes, "It's so good to be back in the Silver Dome."
And of course, the worst part when Brock Lesnar broke this fucking streak.
The Undertaker's?
He beat.
Yeah, that was.
He
awful.
beat Taker and broke the streak at Mania. So, yeah, I mean at least Daniel Bryan won the titles that night, and that was a great.
And it was in the face of the Undertaker. You could tell he was frustrated.
Well, he was hurt. I
saw a special about that.
He had a concussion like 2 minutes into the match.
Yeah.
And he managed to work the entire match, and really noticed.
But he forgot about
Yeah,
it,
he
I
said
think. No, that was
no,
Kurt
he did
Angle.
forget. He said, "I don't remember anything about that
Oh,
day."
yeah.
And the last time
Yeah, I don't remember that match
that
at
day,
all. And I was just like, well, you did a good job.
that's why these Undertaker, all they're professionals. Even they could pull off a match and they don't remember anything about that match. So, yeah, let me start wrapping up on YouTube
That
here.
Kurt Angle versus they talked about that a lot too. Kurt Angle got a concussion from the pedigree because his head hit the concrete floor. His head came down too early or whatever,
Yeah,
and
the
no,
table
the
broke.
table
Yeah,
collapsed too
and
early. Yeah, too
it
early,
went head
and
first.
Kurt
Are you
hit
talking
his
about
head on the
that match at SummerSlam?
floor.
Yeah, that's what it was. I'm pretty sure it's
Yeah,
SummerSlam.
because Triple H is like, I'm supposed to hit Steph, right? You know, he's supposed to miss Angle, and Angle's just looking at him like this. And so he pushes, you could see it slightly. He pushes Kurt down and then smacks Stephanie.